Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Real Estate No Dumb Questions. I'm Leah, and today I am talking with Phil Gerdes from the Gerdes team in Annapolis. Thanks
Hello.
for having me, Phil.
Thanks for having me.
No, it's always good to catch up with you, and you're such a great resource. So
Thank you.
I've got a ton of questions for you if you've got some time for me.
As long as they're not dumb.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
So I see a lot of people out there asking this question who are thinking of buying or maybe even thinking of selling. Why should they hire a realtor?
Well, it's two different situations. So let's talk buyers. There's almost no world where you are negatively impacted by having somebody that is literally legally obligated to support you and look out for your best interests. So why wouldn't you hire someone to do that? It's sort of like saying, I really need brain surgery. I think I'm going to do it myself. Like that's like a dumb
Sounds
answer.
like a good idea.
Yeah. So on the buyer side, it just doesn't. When you really break it down, it logically doesn't make sense not to have someone look out for your best interest.
Right.
From a seller perspective, the argument can be made that I can do better if I sell by myself. But the facts, historical data show that you can't. Historically, sellers that sell their houses on their own sell for 18% less than what a realtor would. Wow. And then they say, well, yeah, but I don't pay any compensation. Let's just assume that you paid 6% total compensation. You just lost 12%. Mm-hmm. So math is math. It just doesn't make sense. I know that someone is going to say, yeah, but I didn't. Well, you are the outlier. So there's a reason they're called outliers and not called every timers, because it just doesn't happen that way.
Yeah. No, it's a great answer. And I think sometimes people can mistake being in the seller's case, they can mistake being the homeowner, like I know my home, I'm a professional, versus like that's a very different knowledge base compared to a realtor.
It really is, especially a good realtor.
Yeah.
You know, someone that actually knows what they're doing. This is like they handle listings, they understand the concept of proper real estate marketing. They have a great brand. They have a strong team behind them. Like there's so many things that go into it other than I put your house in the MLS and now people can come tour it.
Yeah.
It's a different world. And then the other side, I think, is what do you do after your house goes under contract? Because that arguably is an entire different job.
Totally.
So yeah, I mean, there's phases to it. I will not even sell my own house. Mm-hmm. So like I would bring someone from the team on to spearhead it because I know I'm going to be too emotional. I'm going to be too connected to it. So forget it. Let someone else do it because it makes sense to do.
I completely agree. Yeah. Thank you for that. So when do you think is the best time for someone to start talking to a realtor?
The second the inclination pops in their mind, even the minimal thought that I might sell sometime. This is the reason why. It costs you nothing to have that conversation, and it costs you a lot not to. Because I see sellers all the time, and they're like, so, you know, last summer we decided we were going to sell, so here's what we did. I'm like, wow, that's great, because you're not getting any returns on that. In fact, here's what you should have done, and now you're actually going to lose money because you didn't do that. And if you would have talked to me when you had the idea, I would have told you, save your money here, put your money here, and here's your net yield from that. So here's not just what to do, but here's why you should do it. A conversation can't hurt, just have it.
So I think that's really important what you're saying, because I feel like a lot of people who've never bought or sold before might feel like if they're not ready to buy in the next month or two, but they are having questions and thinking about talking to someone, they don't want to waste a realtor's time, or they don't want to feel like the realtor's going to push them before they're ready. But it sounds like what you're saying is like the realtor is going to be a guide for you and prepare you like with all kinds of steps. You don't necessarily have to be ready now.
Exactly. That is literally our job, right? So the job of what we do is not to MLS post or open doors. It is to be, just as you said, be a guide.
Yeah.
So if we treat it like that, then you win as a seller or a buyer. Any way you look at it, if you find someone that treats it as like, I'm bought in to your goal, your value, and I will guide you through it with my expertise, then you're winning as a client.
I've had a lot of agents tell me at the closing table with their buyers sitting there, these people are so important to me. I've been working with them for 1 year, 2 years. It's been a long journey. And I always love to hear that, because it's like, this person isn't just trying to sell you on something and make a quick commission. Like, they're here for you.
I sold a house and then helped someone buy that it was 4 years since the day we started
Wow.
talking. It took just over 4 years for him to say, okay, I'm ready. And then when he was ready, he was ready.
Yeah.
Like it was just go.
And it's such a big
Yeah.
day for you too. You're like,
yeah.
wow, like we did this together. I'm so happy for you.
Because what's really cool, like especially in this situation, he ended up buying right here near the office. He moved from Kensington, so it's not close.
Yeah.
And now I see him, right? I see him with his fiance, and they're walking, and we stop and we talk. Like we're friends.
That's awesome.
You know, yeah. So it's exciting.
I always tell people, because people are always asking me, like, you know, for realtor recommendations or whatever, because obviously I know so many.
Yeah.
And my recommendation is usually different each and every time based on that person's
Yep.
personality and their needs. And at the end of
Yeah.
the day, I tell people, like, you need to work with a realtor you genuinely like someone
yeah.
you could see yourself being friends with. You need to feel comfortable with them.
Because you're going to get close. In the least, you're going to get close for 60 days.
Yeah.
And I think that new real estate agents and buyers or sellers that haven't done it before more than once or twice, I think they don't realize just how close you're going to get to this absolute stranger.
Yeah.
Like you are going to one day meet and you're going to talk every day. And then you're going to stop.
Yeah.
Right. So, and now if you do it right as a real estate agent, you're not going to stop. You know, you're going to, now, yeah, we're not going to talk every day, but we're still going to be in communication and we're going to, there's a relationship built because it's like you said, a friendship. But my goodness, like you have to like the person. Could you imagine talking to the same person every day and every time you hang up the phone, yeah, you're like, oh man, that
Absolutely
idiot.
not.
Yeah.
No.
No, that would be,
It just wouldn't work.
no.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm with
so.
you. So obviously you lead a very successful team here in Annapolis.
Thank you.
And as a team lead, do you notice the value of staging a home? And do you find that your agents find that their listings go under contract faster when the property has been professionally staged?
Again, it's just math and statistics. The answer is absolutely yes.
Yeah.
They're homes that are staged, they simply sell for more money and faster. It is what it is. And now the argument I would think, or I hear from sellers is, yeah, but I like my stuff. I know you do. You do. Your stuff, it's great for you.
Yeah.
But what we have to do is we have to create a canvas for the majority of buyers out there that are going to connect. And then it's, well, Phil, can't you just show me what to do? I could tell you what to do, but I can't show you what to do because that's not what I do. So it goes back to why you shouldn't sell for yourself, because there's experts that literally do this for a living. And that's why you shouldn't stage for yourself. I would add this. I think a lot of sellers think that staging actually means empty your house and let someone bring in all their own furniture. It doesn't.
Yeah.
We have staging consultations where, in fact, we just had one for a property in Shadyside we're about to list, where they came in and they're bringing no furniture in. They are just restaging the existing house with the existing furniture.
That's great.
It's like, how do we make the flow of the house the most conducive for the most amount of people?
Yeah.
So,
No,
yeah.
that makes a lot of sense. And I'm sure it could be hard to convince sellers, like, you have great taste.
Yeah.
It might not appeal to the
masses. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm sure not everyone likes to hear that, but
No,
hopefully they
but
can understand if they're trying to
I think they
sell
get
their
it.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once they trust you, I think that, like, it gets to this point where they trust you and then all of a sudden they're willing to do the things that you're saying that they should do.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
absolutely. So in your opinion, is it better to buy a fixer-upper or a move-in ready home?
What's your scale of patience and how much extra money do you have that you didn't think you'd need? Because if you are not patient, like if you have road rage, not if you get road rage. Like, this is a great scale. If you have road rage, you are incapable of driving your car without feeling like everyone else is stupid. You should not buy a fixer-upper because you will be raging the entire time because everyone
hate
else
it.
is going to be stupid.
You're
Yeah,
just gonna
it's
hate
just
it.
you're going to hate it. But if you execute patience at a high level, if you are tactically empathetic, if you understand that things are going to come up, this will not be a perfect process. I do not care who tells you otherwise, it will not end up exactly how you thought. Period. There's too many variables. As long as you understand that and you have a minimum standard of excellence for the finished product and the people you're working with can get you there, then go ahead and do it. But then also make sure you have a lot of extra money.
Yeah.
The idea of, well, we put a 10% buffer in there from your contractor, I hope you're not living on that, because it's going to most often be more than you thought. It's not going to be more than you thought because, well, they're going to mess up. That's not what I'm saying. While that can happen, it's going to be more than you thought, because once you're given the option of, well, I can put granite in or I can put quartz in, you're gonna pick the quartz once you see how much you love the quartz. Well, we can do a waterfall counter, or we can just cap it right here. You're gonna say waterfall. Like, you're gonna sell yourself up even though you had a budget. Well, we can do these fixtures, but these are the ones you originally picked. But this is only $20 more per fixture. You got 40 fixtures in your house. Like, it's gonna add up. Yeah, so be prepared.
Yeah. So I feel like this is a question a lot of people out there would have. How would someone buy and sell their home at the same time?
With a realtor. That is not one I would do by myself.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. But it's actually quite seamless. So the first thing I would say is you start prepping your house for sale, right? Because you want your house to be ready to hit the market when you find the perfect home. You start working to find the perfect home. You find it, you submit your offer contingent on your home sale, and then all you do is you outline the timeline by which your house will be on the market. You expect it to be under contract, and you expect it to be sold. You set it up so that you sell your house one day, and then you buy the next house the next day, or within a week, or even the same day. But just know that, I tell people this all the time, like, you're not going to be homeless. We're not going to let you be homeless. If you need an extra week at your house, then when we get the offers, we'll negotiate an extra week where, yes, we can settle, but Mr. or Mrs. Buyer, as a seller, I'm going to need to stay here for 8, 9, 10 more days. And we negotiate that in the contract. And the seller should know, like, you're going to pay a per diem rate for that. And that's okay, because you're not going to have a mortgage anymore. So you're going to pay your per diem rate to the buyer, as they're now holding obligation on that house.
Yeah. So what you're saying is, if the timeline doesn't work out perfectly, they could have something like a post-settlement occupancy, where they're still living in the home and then just paying the now new owner for the portion that they're still living there. Exactly.
It is something I would say to negotiate with the offer, not hope that the buyer's okay with it when you find out later that you need a few more days.
Yeah.
Because you got to look from a buyer's perspective,
Totally.
right? They're scheduling movers.
Yep.
They have boxes all over their house, taking time off work. We had a client that this actually happened to, and they were like, "No, I can't let you have an extra 2 days.
Yeah.
I literally took off work today, tomorrow, and Friday for this. I have no more days off for the year. Like, I have no option. This is when I have to move."
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's plan ahead. Plan ahead.
Yeah, for sure. Can you negotiate for repairs after an inspection, and how does that work?
That's the whole point of the inspection. So you get the inspection, and then you have a period of time where you are saying, these are the repairs I would like. And then, you give this document, a property inspection notice, to the seller, and you give them the report to justify why you want those repairs. Now, here's what typically happens. What typically happens is it's like, but I really want it. Inspection repair requests are for safety concerns.
Right.
But it doesn't always happen that way. And then the seller has a window of time where they can respond if they're going to do it or not. It's just another negotiation. There's 3 negotiations. There's a negotiation for your offer to be accepted. There's the inspection negotiation, and there's the appraisal negotiation. Until these things are done, you're not buying this house. I think everyone needs to understand, like, the deal is not done or safe until that's done.
Yeah.
So I've seen a lot of deals die because a buyer was like, no, but I really need that door replaced. And the seller is like, I already gave you a deal. I'm not replacing the door. It's a $200 door.
Yeah.
Like, give me a break. Yeah. And then they're like, okay, we'll pay for the door. No, we're not letting you pay for it. The seller has to. Now we're just like, this is nitpicking and being ridiculous. Do you want the house or not? So yes, you can negotiate for a window of time. That window of time is predetermined in your original purchase contract.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And I could see, especially, people are developing an emotional attachment to the home, and it could be easy to get hung up on some of the cosmetic things that might come up. But at the end of the day, it's a safety report.
Yeah. And you saw the cosmetic things when you put your offer in.
Yeah, exactly.
And that helped steer you to what you were offering.
Right.
Let's not act like you didn't love it then.
Right.
So,
right.
yeah.
Exactly. No, that makes a lot of sense. For renters looking to buy their first property, how soon should they start their home buying journey?
Yeah, this again is as soon as you're thinking about it. Specifically when it comes to renting, you're in a really good position because let's say you've got 10 more months on your lease. Well, now you've got 10 months to prepare. Like you're talking to an agent about where you want to live, what they should keep their eyes out for, how to be prepared. They can connect you with a lender. Now the lender has advance notice on credit, taxes, everything, like income. Everything is in a position where your lease is up, and it's not like my lease is up, I'm looking. It's my lease is up. I started my search at a particular time. I'm literally moving into my home when my lease ends. So again, it's just the second you think about it, get in touch with the right people.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
It's hard for us because, like, obviously we know so many realtors, but for someone who is thinking about starting the process, buying, they don't know a single realtor in their life. They have no idea how to even look for one. You know, do I get on Google? Do I get on Instagram? Like, where would you suggest someone even start looking?
Not with friends and family.
Okay.
Oddly enough, I just, let me say this. When it comes to selling, the answer is not with friends and family. When it comes to selling, you need a very particular type of expert. So go online, go on Google, and look for local agents. But look at reviews.
Yeah.
If an agent has 10 reviews, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
doesn't cut it.
Yeah.
Like you need someone, you need the people that everyone is raving about.
Yep.
And look, if I have 400 reviews, please be okay with the 5 that are negative.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You're not going to please everyone.
Of course.
Yeah. But goodness gracious, if 300 people are telling me this is my person, at least interview them.
100%.
When it comes to buying, now, okay, maybe you talk to friends and family, but then you're still interviewing. I think the mistake a lot of buyers make is they say, yeah, but my parents use this person. Yeah. That's cool, but did you know that this person stopped selling real estate 2 years ago and they're just going to help you because of your parents?
Exactly.
Yeah, but that's great. No, it's not. They are not in the season of negotiation. Like if the last time you negotiated a deal was 2 years ago, you will not be testing your skills out again on me.
Right.
So it's all about working with experts. Like I want to help everybody. I'll take that agent to dinner and say thank you for the referral of someone else. And to that point, that's a great way to help that agent. You can say, hey, do you know an agent that's actively selling in this area or helping buyers in this area? And they can connect you with someone and they can actually get a referral fee from that. But when it's all said and done, the next 30 years, if you stay in that house, you're the only one making the payment. So start acting like it.
It's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
So I know you talked about some of this a little bit earlier, but I'd love to maybe hear, like, maybe you've got a story on this. Like, what are some of the risks or dangers of buying or selling a home without an agent?
Well, I think, there was a guy in my neighborhood actually was selling his house without an agent, and he went under contract. I brought the buyer.
Okay.
And I said, well, where's the disclosures? He's like, what are you talking about? Yeah. And then I had to explain to him, like, no, look, this is everything you needed, whether you had an agent or not. These are you don't have a choice but to have these documents in here. And you don't even know of them. This is what's dangerous about it. And now I ended up having to help him secure those documents because I have to look out for my client's best interest, which was the buyer. Yeah. But then he starts asking me, well, what should I do? Nah, buddy, it's not how it works. I don't work for you. I work for these guys. Yeah. So my job is to get everything I can for them, not you. And then this is crazy because I'm a listing agent primarily. So a lot of listing agents wouldn't want me to say this, but the truth is no buyer should ever walk into a house and say, I just work with the listing agent because I can get a better deal. What you are really doing, it's super important for people to understand this. You are literally saying, I don't need representation, take advantage of me, and you keep all the money for the listing side and the buyer side. Because there's an agreement between the seller and the seller's agent that says, where one way or another, if a buyer comes, this money gets paid out. So don't think that you're getting a discount because you don't have an agent. You're just paying the seller's agent twice. Yeah. And you're by yourself. Like you're navigating this world of the largest investment the average American ever makes in their life. You're doing it alone.
So if you were a buyer, you're saying that you don't think it would be smart for them to let themselves be represented by a listing agent, like basically dual representation
Yeah,
by
never.
an agent who's representing both sides.
I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't want to say it's dangerous. It's not so much that it's dangerous. It's just kind of.
It's got to be hard to represent both.
Well, you can even in Maryland, you can't represent both. That's kind of the thing. Like in the state of Maryland, if I am working with a seller, I'm working with a seller.
Yeah.
Period. I am everything you tell me, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I'm just calling the seller and saying, guess what I found out?
Yeah.
I'm literally using it against you.
Yeah.
So don't tell me anything. Let me get you representation. Let me tell you, here's an agent. They will represent you, and press go. We actually just had this happen this morning. Yesterday, we had someone call in about our listing. I told the listing agent, I said, take this agent with you before anyone walks in this house. Explain you represent the seller, and they have two options. They can tour the house with you, but please understand that I represent the seller and I am from this point forever looking out for the seller's best interest, or I can stay out here and you can tour with this person. This person will sign an agreement right now saying that they represent you and your best interest at all times. And you guys tour it and you let me know what you think. And that person, that's exactly what they did. They said, yeah, I want to be represented. I want to be safe.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course.
I think that's the difference between like building a business and being very transactional. Because a lot of people would have been like, oh, I can get both sides of this transaction.
Yeah.
No, that's not what it's about. This is about the client.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Should someone, again, who's first now thinking of starting to buy, should they talk to a realtor or to a lender first?
A realtor.
Okay.
They should talk to a realtor first. I don't say that just because I'm a realtor, because I used to own mortgage companies. The reality is the lender you work with should, in my opinion, come at least as an option from the realtor you're working with. Because the realtor you're working with understands where you're buying and what lenders to attach you to based on where you're buying. A hyper-local agent is important. A hyper-local lender is equally as important. So I say think big strategy, realtor first, and then moving pieces in between, that can all be directed from a realtor. Like they have the contacts and the connections to send you where you want to go. A good realtor is going to say, here's who I have. I suggest you also jump on Google and interview a couple other people. And then a really good realtor is going to tell you how to interview them, cut through all the BS, tell them your facts and say, give me a fee sheet. Cut and dry. Give me a fee sheet, because the fee sheet is going to show what you're paying on a large scale, but then on a micro level, line itemed out. It's going to have your interest rate, and then don't hide that fee sheet. Literally give it to every lender, pick 3, and say, fight for me.
Yeah.
If they don't want to fight for you, let them go, because there are lenders out there that will give you a deal just to get your deal.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
yeah.
No, that's really good advice. I like what you said, particularly about being hyper local.
Yeah.
Because it makes a huge difference.
It really, really does.
Huge difference. What is the biggest mistake that you see buyers making when they're shopping for a home?
Oh, well, depends. We've been talking about first-time buyers, so I'll touch on them first. The biggest mistake for first-time buyers that I see, without a shadow of a doubt, is they think they're buying their forever home. You're not. You're probably, look, with respect, I don't care what you actually think right now. You're probably not going to live there in 5 years.
Yeah.
That's just it. Life is going to change so much for you in the next 5 years. You're either going to say, I hate this house, or I hate this area, or I love this house. I hate to have to move, but I just had 2 babies and now I need a bigger house. Or life changes, things happen, things grow. You're not buying a forever home. So instead of buying, what I'm not saying is just buy the first thing you see. Get strategic. Buy an investment. Don't buy a home. You as a first-time buyer should be thinking, what is the investment that I'm making? Not, am I buying a forever home?
I love that.
Make sure you like your investment, but think like an investor first.
Yeah.
Second-time buyers, third-time buyers, I argue that it's all situational. Where are you? What do you need? What's the reason? Like really move in your reason. But the mistake is we move within our reason without being reasonable about what we're paying. So second and third times buyers, we tend to think we got it all figured out. This isn't my first rodeo. if you could live in a really great place and have a lower payment than you thought, then why wouldn't you do it? Well, the reason we don't do it is typically because buyers, especially at the second and third tier, well, they get really emotional. I have to have this. I didn't have it in that house. I always said I'd have it here. Pump the brakes. Your extra $500 a month, that is more worth you having the gazebo in the back.
Yeah.
Like, dude, we can build you a gazebo.
Yeah.
Like, let's just be strategic. I want an outdoor kitchen. Okay, well then save the extra $500 a month for a year and then build an outdoor kitchen. And then after that, guess what? You're still saving $500 a month over what you would have paid.
Yeah.
So I don't think investment, but think reasonable when it comes to not being house poor.
So that was going to lead me into my next question which was, do starter homes still exist? And it sounds like, very
Yeah.
much so. I mean,
Yeah.
the likelihood of someone being in their place for longer than 5 years, you're saying, is
it's low.
Yeah,
It really
usually
is.
not the case.
Yeah. I think they're definitely starter homes still. I think that, it's crazy. I think a lot of new home builders are building to starter home buyers.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think that they are realizing that there is a segment of people that are past the McMansion concept.
Yeah.
And if you can get them a 2,000 or an 1,800 or a 2,500 square foot house for a price that is reasonable, you'll sell those like clockwork.
Yeah.
So that, yeah, absolutely. I think there's definitely starter homes still available.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.